Hello, my name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I'm a husband of a scientist. Today is the 13th of October at 3 in the afternoon. And today at noon, the bidding closed for October. And bidding is something that is talked about a lot in my industry. And if you're not in the industry, it can seem really confusing and makes no sense. I'm going to attempt to explain how bidding works where I work. Understand it's different, a little bit different at every airline. So right now I fly 777 for an airline based in Dallas, and I'm pretty junior on the 777 as a first officer. If you watch my videos for a while, I was very senior on the Airbus here, onto 777, higher pay rate, senior base. I'm more junior. How junior am I? Great question. I am number 171 out of 194 first officers in Dallas on the 777. It's a pretty small base when you consider for most flights, there's at least 2 first officers. So that percentage puts me at 88.1% of all bidders, meaning I am not a line holder. For the bid month of November, in my status, there's 145 line holders. So I am 26 numbers away from holding a line. Yeah, I'm bad in math. I'm doing on the fly. Yes. So it's going to be a while, right? And my personal opinion is a junior or a reserve pilot can be better than a junior line holder sometimes, depending on what kind of trips you get. But that's where I am now. As far as what my airline wants to build for a line, people that are going to be line holders next month, they want them to have between 72 and 86 hours worth of flying for the month. Now again, at my airline, if you're a short call reserve, you get paid 76 hours, right? Up or 73 hours if you're long call. So right there, even a reserve pilot could get more hours than a line holder. Now, a line holder could absolutely have more days off. Reserves are guaranteed 12 days off. I don't think there's a guarantee, maybe 13 days for line holders. Off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure. But how bidding works, generally speaking, is the airline builds trips at where I work now. So they'll build a sequence, and a sequence is just a number of flights over so many days. Now, on my current aircraft, they typically are 1 and 1. One flight, Dallas to London, one flight, London to Dallas, and we're done. And they will build these sequences over the whole month. So depending on a trip, like for a London trip for the most part, they need 2 first officers and 1 captain, right? So there'll be an FO line and an FB line, relief pilot line. Next month, we have flights to Incheon, South Korea. That's a 4-pilot crew. So we'll have a captain line, a FO line, a FB line, and an FC line. FB and C are the relief pilot lines, right? So you can bid on any one of those positions, right? Some people like to be FC or FB on the long flight. Some people like to be FO. It depends on what you want to do. But when you bid, where I work now, we use thing called PBS, Preferential Bidding System. And imagine you had 7 bowls in front of you. You could put your request in for various trips or types of trips, characteristics of trips, and you put them in each bowl. From your top bowl, what you really, really want, to number 7 is like, hey, if it gets down here, this is the least I really want, right? Then from then, you can go on to reserve. So you can say, hey, I only want to do Incheon, South Korea trips. Those trips are about 28 hours worth of credit over 3 days. Again, a London trip pays about 19 hours. A Hawaii trip pays about 15 hours and 45 minutes. So over 3 days. Those are all 3-day trips. So you can see a Incheon trip at 28 hours is a lot more credit packed into the same footprint that a Hawaii trip or a London trip is. Most people like those longer trips because they get a lot of bang for the buck, so to speak. But if you can't hold it, and you have no idea if you can hold it or not, because you never know, the number 1 pilot might hate flying long trips. They might only want to fly Hawaii in in November. So you put in what you hope to get, and then varying different permutations of it, right? Same thing if you want to go to Incheon, but you don't want to work Thursdays or Fridays because you're a kid soccer coach and you're very senior, You can tell the airline, hey, I want to do these incheon trips, but only if I have Thursday and Friday off. You might bid around them those days and bid other things. But you put all your requests in these 7 different scenarios. And then beyond, after that's number 7, you have 3 lines of reserve that you can bid. And that's where I am. So, but real quick on the different bowls. It's not just trips. You can put in, if you're on the narrow body, they have a lot more trips than we do. And it's just one captain, one FO for the most part. It is that way. But you can put in, hey, I want any trip that is 3 days long, that signs in afternoon and gets done before 4 p.m. Maybe you're a commuter. Maybe you have to help your family in the morning on Monday mornings, and you want trips that start on Mondays at noon or after and get done by 4 in the afternoon on Wednesdays. That way you can do the morning stuff with your family on Monday, work Tuesday. You finish at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, you're home with the kids or your family to do dinner. Or you commute, wherever it is. But you can tell it as specific as what trips you actually want to, hey, I'll take anything that fits this mold. But you can even put exclusions, say, hey, I'll fit anything that fits this mold, but I refuse to fly to Charlotte, because who wants to fly to Charlotte? But that's the basics of bidding. Again, you put all those permutations in. Now, what the computer's going to do is they'll go to the number 1 pilot, say, hey, what do you want? They look in the number 1 bowl, and they almost always get what they want. Bam, you got it. But now, whatever they wanted, they got, is taken out to give to someone else. So if the number 2 pilot had the same bowl for their number 1, like, oh, sorry, that's gone. Go to your number 2 bowl. Okay, yeah, you can do all this, and they give it to him. And so it keeps going down the list. Now, I bid lines, right? I bid stuff for a line. I'm not gonna get it. But the computer will go to my bowl and like it'll laugh. It'll go ha 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 7 times, because by the time they get to me, pretty sure all the lines are gone. Then they go to the reserve bowl, and in my reserve bowl, I told the computer in my first one, said I need this day of the month off. It's a must-have. I have to have this one day off. I need a day off next month for my kids' stuff. And then I can tell, hey, I would like to have weekends off, right? So I can tell it, this is a must off. The rest of them, I prefer off. And I can tell it how many days I want to be on reserve in a row. I can tell it I want to be on reserve for 3 days minimum in a row to maximum of 7 days in a row. I can say I want 3-day blocks only. So 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off. You can do various permutations as long as you give a maximum of 12 days off a month is what we get at my airline where I work. So what I did, I put the 1 day I needed off, must off. The rest were prefer off. And I preferred, again, my first bowl of reserve, I preferred a week of Thanksgiving off. Will I get it? It's a possibility, believe it or not. Then I put, some other weekends off and some other days off, so to speak. But then I told it, in my first bowl, I said, I want this day off and the week of Thanksgiving off. Try to give it to me first as short call pilot. Then if you can't, see if I can do it as a long call pilot. And then if it can't, it goes to my next bowl. And then I have other rules in there as far as maybe 3 days on, 3 to 5 day blocks of reserve, allowing 1 day off between reserve blocks, because I'm local, I don't care, if you can give me this off, so to speak. So it goes through all those bowls. Now, what if I put in too many restrictions? I'm too specific. Then it goes to the end and says, hey, we couldn't do any of this for you, bud. So now we're going to give you what we have. I've been there a few times in my career. It's unfortunate, but thankfully I'm local. It's more of a situation if you commute. Some people commute from Des Moines, Iowa to Dallas, and they know they can't get to Dallas on day 1 before 9 a.m. So they have to have a trip that starts after 9 a.m. So for them, bidding is a lot more intense than it is for me being local. Now, what happens if you bid and you get something that doesn't work, right? You bid and you get your Des Moines commuter and you get something that starts at 7 in the morning in Dallas. Well, that's when you get to do trip trading. It's a whole different topic. But long video long. This is day 1. This is the 13th of the month. Every month on the 8th of the month at noon, my bids open. They close on the 13th. So I was doing the 8th and 13th to get my bids in. On the 16th, hopefully before noon most months, I get the results. So this is part one of the video. Don't worry, there's no part two. It'll just continue on to the next section. But I'm hoping this gives you a small insight on how bidding works at a major airline. And now we wait for 3 days. And through the miracle of technology and time travel, it is now the 16th. It's 10 in the morning. I got my results at 9:42. They're supposed to be done normally around noon, but hey, it's a Festivus miracle. Um, I got what I wanted. So I asked for the 8th off and Thanksgiving Day and the day after Thanksgiving off. I got way more than that. I got um, 5 days off the second week of the month, and then I got the entire week of Thanksgiving off. The entire week of Thanksgiving off. Now, you might be asking, well, Darren, if you're so junior, how did this happen? Great question, Darren. Money. Uh, money rules everything, right? There are incentives to work on certain days at this airline. The days for November bid are the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving Day, and December 1st. If you work on those days, you get an extra, I think it's 5 hours and 15 minutes of pay, which is a lot of money, right? If you work Thanksgiving Day, the day before Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving Day, that's several thousands of dollars. Now, some people that commute can play this to their advantage. Let's say, not say on a 777, but on other aircraft. Let's say you commute from Des Moines, Iowa, right? If you can bid a trip that flies into Des Moines on the 25th, there's a layover in Des Moines, and then leaves on the 27th, which is the day after. I'm sorry, flies into Des Moines on the 27th, lays over on Thanksgiving Day, and out on the 29th, which they have those kind of trips because on Thanksgiving Day, there's not a whole lot of flying. Planes sit in outstations all the time. You can get paid 10.5 hours extra pay to fly to your commute city, have Thanksgiving dinner with your family, then the next day, fly back out. So money does fix problems. This is a new thing in our contract. It hasn't always been there. I think it's been there since last year. Because in the past, many pilots would bid to be off on Thanksgiving and off on holidays because, like, why work a holiday? Make the junior pukes do it. But with the extra pay, they're like, hey, now, those junior guys aren't getting this extra money. It's my money. So now they're bidding to work on these holidays. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with my schedule. Now, in order for this to be accomplished, it's to be kind of crazy. I have 4 on, 5 off, 6 on, just 1 off, 6 on, and then a lot off, and then 3 on. So it's not like I'm gonna have a vacation month, but getting what I wanted, again, I needed 8th off because my wife's taking my oldest daughter to a Mavericks game. So I'm watching my youngest daughter. And then I wanted Thanksgiving off for the heck of it. I got my first reserve layer choice. Remember, I had all those bowls, right? When my line holder bowls, they laughed at me. Wasn't even an option. But they got down to reserve. They're like, hey, you want this? You got it, bud. Color me shocked. So this is bidding. Until you're senior, you never really know what you're gonna get. You can have an idea what you're gonna get, but you won't really know until you're senior enough to say, "Hey, I know I did do this consistently." And contrary to popular belief, um, sometimes the most senior pilot takes a less desirable trip because maybe they commute. Right? One man's trash is another man's treasure. So a lot of pilots get to know the bidding habits of people right senior to them and junior to them, especially senior to them. They know, hey, Sarah always picks up the 3 o'clock London trips on Mondays and every week, right? That's what she does. Or Brian, he always bids Las Vegas overnights, and he bids the overnight that goes into Vegas on Friday night to be his kid's soccer coach Saturday morning, whatever it is. So some people typically bid the same things over and over again, and you learn what they bid, and you learn what you cannot get because of that reason. But that is my bidding video. Again, bidding is very complicated. It's different every airline. I hope this made a little bit of sense to you and brought a little bit of insight into what airline pilots do. My name is Darren. Again, I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I'm a husband of a scientist. I appreciate your support. If you want to subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Like, I'd appreciate it. Comment, I'll reply to you. Have a great day. And as always, thank you for stopping by.